presenter, Lance.
Okay, so I'm doing East Kauai's Wise Men's Club remembrance of Alfred Loretta. He was born May 21, 1924, and he passed on November 16, 2020 at the age of 96. Oh, wrong picture. Sorry. Are we doing Fred first?
Is that it?
No,
Okay, Garret.
I don't have the. Melanie has the master.
Ah, there we go.
There we go.
Shall I start now?
Go ahead, Lance.
Okay, I'm doing the remembrance for Alfred Loretta, born May 21, 1924, and he passed November 16, 2020 at the age of 96. He was a member of the East Kauai Wise Men's Club. Alfred was born at Banana Camp, Eva Plantation, to immigrant parents who had moved to Hawaii 2 years earlier from the Philippines. He had a long and lustrous career as an attorney, a district court judge, and a federal court judge. Alfred went through primary school in Eva and graduated from Lahaina Luna High School on Maui. He then attended University of Hawaii at Manua, where he earned his Bachelor of Education with a scholarship went on to Fordham University School of Law in New York for his Bachelor of Laws degree. While in New York, he met his wife, Evelyn, a nursing student who died in 2012. Back in Hawaii after college, he helped to form a new law firm with partners Bert Kobayashi, a future Supreme Court Associate Judge, and Russell Kono, who went on to become a state district court judge, and George Ariyoshi, who served three plus terms as Hawaii's governor. After the Democrats took control of the territorial legislature in 1954, Alfred was appointed House Attorney for the 1955 session, along with Patsy Mink and Herman Lump, future Chief Justice of Hawaii Supreme Court. He later worked in Washington, D.C. as administrative assistant to newly elected U.S. Representative Daniel Inouye. In 1963, Alfred was appointed Director of the Department of Labor by then Governor John A. Burns. He held that post until 1967, when Burns made him a judge and appointed him to the First Circuit Court in Honolulu. In 1969, he transferred and moved to Kauai, where he was judge of Kauai's 5th District Court. In 1978, President Jimmy Carter nominated him to be judge of the District Court for the Northern Mariana Islands. The U.S. Senate confirmed his nomination, and he was sworn in on July 14, 1978, and was the first federal judge of Philippine ancestry in the United States history. Alfred and Evelyn also moved to Saipan, where he carried out his duties as a federal district court judge until he retired in 1988 and returned to Kauai. It was shortly after his return to Kauai that his longtime close friend, Jiro Yukimura, encouraged him to join East Kauai's Wise Men's Club. Alfred was a very active member of our Wise Men's Club, where he held the office of president numerous times and at one time took on the job of Hawaii Regional Director. He was always present at our events and fundraisers. Besides his active role in our Wise Men's Club, he devoted his energies to numerous Kauai community projects and activities. Just to mention a few of the community activities that he was involved in, these were serving on the board of directors of the Kauai Governmental Employees Federal Credit Union and the Association for Retarded Citizens of Kauai. He also was elected to a seat on Kauai Island Utility Cooperative Board of Directors for a 3-year term. Alfred has also served on the State Foundation on Cultural Arts, Hawaii State Board of Health, and the Wilcox Hospitals Committee on Ethics and Review. The judge passed away peacefully at his Kapa'a home on November 16, 2020, surrounded by his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. He is surely missed by all who knew him.
Okay.
Garret, can I also add one more fact
to Judge Loretta's tribute.
Go ahead. Jose.
Judge Loretta and his lovely wife, Evelyn, were actually volunteers at the Windward YMCA in Kailua when I was in high school.
Wow.
I taught their two kids how to swim at the Windward YMCA. So he's been a supporter of the YMCA and Wiseman's for a very, very long time.
Okay. Thank you, Bobby. Okay, next. Who we have now? Okay, we have Hilo Wisemen's and Women's Club. James Fujimoto, presenter Ray Sito. Ray?
Thank you, Jared.
Go ahead.
Garret, rather. Sorry about that. I first met Jimmy and his wife Lillian in the summer of 1970 before we left for Europe at the Honolulu International Airport to attend the Wiseman's International Convention in Denmark. My first impression meeting Jimmy was that he was a no-nonsense guy. We instantly became good friends because we both understood each other without saying much on any subject we were discussing, whether it be Wiseman, politics, sports, or our family life. Together, we shared things we both loved. First, our devotion to Wiseman's movement, and secondly, our passion for playing golf. We traveled to many countries together to attend international conventions, as well as visiting our brother clubs. When my family visited Hilo, Jimmy insisted that we stay with him and his wife Lillian at his home. He would take care of my family like we were brothers. And we did the same when he came to Honolulu. Nothing would deter us when we spent time together. We shared whatever we had with no strings attached, either financial or just supporting each other. I miss Jimmy. I have his photo placed where I see him daily. Aloha, Jimmy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Next we have Pat Hakoda. Our presenter would be Ken Okimoto. Go ahead, Ken.
Okay, this is for Fumiko Pat Hakoda. She has a long association with Wiseman and the Hilo YMCA. Her husband, Milton Hakoda of the Hilo Wiseman's Club, was a legendary member who passed in 2005. Milton served twice as club president, served as past regional director, and whom the regional Milton Hakoda Trident Award for Outstanding Service of individual members' first 3 years of membership is named after. Pat, as she was fondly called, passed on April 27, 2019 in Hilo. She was 92. She was a retired teacher whose career spanned 32 years until she retired in 1984 from Chief's Katiolani Elementary School. Pat was an avid mahjong player and golfer and is survived by sons, Gain with wife Diane Hakoda, Don with wife Ruby Hakoda of Hilo, daughter Wynn and husband Reynard Peralta of Hilo. Pat in her own right was an active civic member belonging to numerous community and social organizations. After the passing of her husband, who was a Y board member, she replaced him and served on the board of directors for a few years. Pat's caring relationship with the Hilo Wiseman and Women's Club continued for several years as a volunteer cashier at the club's annual Christmas tree sale. As the cashier, she graciously welcomed hundreds of families in bringing Christmas happiness. Pat will be missed during our annual Christmas tree sale. So we honor and remember Fumiko Hakoda.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Next up, we have Kaimuki Wise Service Club for Paul Kuromoto. I believe Bobby.
Thank you, Garret.
Thank you.
I first met my partner in crime, Paul M. Kuromoto, after returning from working at the Osaka Minami YMCA in Japan in August of 1972. I joined the Central YMCA as an associate youth director, and at that time, Paul was the youth director for about a year. Doris Tomita was the senior youth director, and Bob Masuda was the executive director of the Central YMCA. I had never met Paul before, and he only knew me by my last name, Stivers, and that I was born and raised in Kailua. For a long time, he thought I was a blue-eyed, blonde, haole boy from Kailua. Boy, was he in for a shock when I showed up. When you know someone, not just as a co-worker, but a true friend for nearly 48 years, there is so much history in your relationship that it is impossible to put in print, especially for an occasion like today. But as I reflect and reminisce about our relationship, I can only say honestly, I admired and adored him. He was articulate, he wrote eloquently, well organized, an effective planner and leader, and driven to perfection. But his greatest asset was his ability to build confidence in people, especially to those who had no or little confidence in themselves. I was one of them. Paul knew how to touch not only the minds, but the hearts of those in his realm, whether at the Y, Wiseman's, or even at the karaoke bar. Paul was born on December 6, 1945, and died on August 4, 2020, at the tender age of 74 years. His brilliant YMCA career extended over 4 decades, from a teen coordinator, youth director, branch executive, Metro program specialist, and YMCA of the US area, of the US consultant. And yes, he loved the Ninth Island so much that he moved and worked in Las Vegas. And I, along with Brad and Sharon, enjoyed visiting him on many occasions. One New Year's Eve, I recall, we decided to go big time. We rode a red limousine, drank champagne, and watched the fireworks from the tops of the Vegas hotels on the Strip. Big time spenders with primo money. The Hawaii region of Y Service Club shined during his leadership, and especially as regional director in 2004-2005. He developed the Wise Men Teen and Wise Family program models, but his signature project was the pride of the region, was a Wise Men Academy training program. Paul, with other dedicated leaders, including Linda Chung, Sharon and Brad Ishida, Walter Sokoda, and so many others, developed a successful training program. It was the gold standard of Wise Men's training. While my partner in crime had a rough time in his later years, I still want to remember Paul as a good and caring human being, a servant leader who was there to help others. I hope his legacy as a wise man of the Hawaii region will be remembered for generations to be. In closing, I leave with you this thought. He asked for so little, but gave so very much. Mahalo.
Thank you, Bobby. Okay, moving on. Maui Y Service Club for Fred Tamasaka. Donna Jones, you have the floor.
Hi, thank you. So Fred Tamasaka passed away on June 8th of 2019, and he was living in Austin, Texas at that time. Fred joined the Wiseman's Club in 1961. He remained a member until his passing, so that was over 58 years. Fred was a Wiseman longer than I've been alive. When I first joined the club in 1993, I had been working for the YMCA for about a year, and I was so excited to join this group. I already knew Fred from his involvement as a board member, and when I joined the club, there was about 20 members. We grew very quickly to be much larger, and Fred was such an integral part of that. He kept us grounded. Within a few years, we got down to a core group, and Fred was just this constant presence during the entire time, actively supporting our Y and our community. Working with Fred was just amazing. He's a quiet, but stable force. Okay, sorry, take a deep breath. Fred would often remind us of the history of the club and the traditions of the club, having been the member for the longest amount of time, but he would also allow us to evolve and to serve our community and the Y in so many different ways. Somebody that everyone always respected and loved. Last weekend, 3 of our 4 current members were able to gather, informally, and we just shared our memories about Fred. And I can still see him coming to our meetings with his Wiseman shirt on and carrying his notebook because he always took notes. And, I can picture him sitting at the campfire for the Kids to Camp program and telling the kids stories about growing up on Maui. One of the stories that he loved to tell was growing up in Pu'unene, and Fred was born in 1931. So he was still pretty young when World War II was happening, and he and his friends would gather rocks, and they would walk to the Kihei beaches and wait for the Japanese, in case the Japanese invaded Maui, right? So they were there, they were going to be all ready with their slingshot and rocks. And, I can just see him telling that story to the kids, and we all kind of laughed, yet I could still see that little boy that really wanted to protect his family. One of the favorite stories that we had was just for any of you that have ever ridden with Fred driving, this about him. He has 2 speeds, fast and stop. And we oftentimes would ride with him and take our lives in our hands. But he was just such fun. We would always carpool out to K&I, being such a long drive and having good company. But it was definitely an experience. My son Trevor says he's still traumatized 10 years later. Fred was just, he was such a presence. I loved watching him at the conventions. So, he loved spending so much time with all of his Wiseman friends, and just really those connections meant so much to him. And, he was certainly unexpected at times. Fred was so wise, and he would make comments and help make decisions that really would surprise us. He was very committed to the Y. And we missed him. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, I have one more. Last but not least, Kalihi Y Service Club, Sunny Young. I believe Eddie Miwa.
This remembrance was put together by Kalihi Club President Tony Falscraft. Following Sonny Young's passing, the Kalihi Club members shared their experience of knowing and volunteering with him. Kalihi Club member Bev Wong wrote, "I have so much to say of Sonny. He is so giving and caring, an awesome member of the Kalihi Wise Men's Club. He was a dedicated member to the Y Service Club movement, and he will give you his shirt off his back. I traveled with him in Norma, and we did work together, projects at Camp Erdman and Pearl Harbor. He's always willing to do anything for his friends. At Camp Erdman, he not only donated his time, but also his money. I will miss him and his smiling face." Former Kalihi exec and club member Phil Chun wrote, "I've had the pleasure of knowing Sonny since our days at the UHY. And when we decided to form the Kalihi Wise Men's Club, I asked Sonny to be a part of it. And without hesitation, Sonny said yes. He was a charter member of the Kalihi Wise Men's Club and has been a good friend all these years. When my son Randall was looking for a job, Sonny took interest and always was on the lookout for job opportunities and sent them to me. I miss him very much." Melanie, can I share? I have another picture. Can I share another picture? Mel?
Go ahead.
Okay.
She's really good with this stuff.
I love this picture because it shows Sonny and Norma on the far right, along with the Kalihi Club members working at the National Association of Little Carriers Food Bank night. These comments would be echoed by everyone in the Kalihi Club and in many other clubs and organizations that Sonny volunteered for. In addition to membership with the Kalihi Club, Sonny sat on the board of YMCA Camp Urban for many years, and he was always willing to share his time, his high quality tools, and his treasure with the YMCA. Sonny spent countless hours helping to do substantial repairs to cabins and the grounds at Camp Erdman. Outside of the Y and Y service clubs, Sonny volunteered much of his time with the Pearl Harbor National Memorial of Hawaii and the Pearl City Lions Club. I believe the framed flag that Charlie received one year during the convention, I believe it was Charlie, yeah, that the flag that flew over the Missouri, or was it the Arizona? That was, Sonny picked that up for him. Kwai Sun Young, or Sonny as we all know him, was a proud graduate of Roosevelt High during its era as an English language school. However, he got a big kick out of the fact that one of his Roosevelt classmates became the head of the local crime syndicate. That was Sonny, hardworking, funny, and caring about our wonderful community. I might also note that one year, Sonny was also named as one of the finalists for the Hawaii Volunteer of the Year Award. Sonny passed away on April 23rd, 2021, after a long battle with cancer. He is survived by wife Norma, his daughter Cheryl, and stepdaughter Laurie. Sonny was 84. God bless you, Sonny. May you rest in peace. We miss you dearly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. Okay, this wraps up this portion of the convention for the remembrances. This time I'd like to thank all the presenters who have presented our former members, Lance Niimi, Ray Sito, Ken Okimoto, Bobby Stivers-Apiki, Donna Jones, Eddie Miwa. Appreciate all your help for this part of the convention. Also, it was you're the ones that actually helps to keep the memories of these people alive, because words on paper doesn't do justice. You put a face to these people who we just previously mentioned. Thank you again for all your help, and back to the host.
Okay, thank